Michelina Lewandowska was born in 1988 in a village in southwestern Poland. Her father, Jean Lewandowski, worked as a welder, and her mother, Miroslava, raised 3 children. Michelina was a blonde, blue-eyed girl of remarkable beauty and an enviable figure. At the age of 17, she met a handsome, muscular young man named Marcin Kasprzak in a cafe near her parents' home. Their eyes met, and it was love at first sight. They exchanged phone numbers and soon became a couple. Michelina's father did not like Marcin, sensing that he was spoiled and would cause problems for his daughter, which later proved true. After a year of dating, the couple announced their engagement in 2006. Marcin gave Michelina a diamond ring when he proposed, and she was delighted because she loved him and thought he was the man of her dreams. He suggested moving to the United Kingdom, where his parents lived, and she agreed, ready to start a new life with him in England. Once in the UK, Marcin got a job at a butcher's shop, and Michelina opened a small tailoring business at home. In April 2008, they had a son, Jakob. Although his birth brought great joy to the family, over time increasing responsibilities affected their relationship. Marcin spent most of his time after work at the gym, training about 5 times a week and taking steroids to increase his muscle mass, while Michelina stayed home to care for the baby. Tensions arose between them, and they argued more frequently. Marcin insulted Michelina whenever he could, saying he was bored and comparing her to other women at the gym he claimed were more attractive. His steroid use led to mood swings and angry outbursts, which took a toll on Michelina. Over time, he began seeing other women and came home later and later. Hurt and frustrated, Michelina suggested it might be best to return to her parents in Poland, but Marcin refused, saying he did not want to be separated from his son. Although she was unhappy in the relationship and had ended the engagement, Michelina stayed for the child's sake, hoping things would improve without realizing the worst was yet to come. By 2011, the situation had only grown worse, and it was clear Marcin had no intention of fixing their relationship. Instead, he devised a shocking plan to get rid of Michelina and secure sole custody of their child. On Saturday, May 28, 2011, the 25-year-old Marcin sent his parents out with their 3-year-old son for a walk so he could be alone with Michelina. He suggested going shopping with his 18-year-old friend, Patrick. Michelina was surprised that he suddenly wanted to spend time with her but agreed, hoping it was a sign of change. She got ready in a hurry, putting on makeup, and when she stepped out of the room, she noticed both young men staring at her in an unsettling way. Marcin took her hand and told her he wanted to show her something. At that moment, he pulled a stun gun out of his pocket, held it to her neck, and fired. When Michelina collapsed, a searing pain coursed through her body. Marcin, who weighed around 100 kilos, put his knee on her chest and pinned her down. She asked if he was going to kill her, and he told her not to be afraid. Then he ordered Patrick to fetch packing tape, which they used to gag and tie her hands and feet. Next, they pushed her against a wall and shocked her again with the stun gun. 6 hours later, they dragged her to the kitchen and forced her into a cardboard box. As Marcin began sealing the box, Michelina screamed and begged him to let her go, but he knelt down and laughed. He told her he had hated her for 4 years and that she would never see her son again. The 2 men carried the box to Patrick's car, put it in the trunk, and drove to a wooded area where they dug a shallow hole. They placed the box inside, then covered it with about 10 centimeters of dirt and a piece of wood weighing around 40 kilos to prevent Michelina from escaping. Inside the box, she heard dirt falling and realized she had no idea where she was. She called out, but no one answered. Then she grasped what Marcin had done, and tears of terror and betrayal ran down her cheeks. She began to pray. Convinced their victim was unconscious and slowly dying, the attackers went to a nearby ATM, withdrew money from Michelina's card, and returned to Patrick's house. Neither suspected what would happen next. While Marcin mused over how smoothly everything had gone, Michelina was fighting her way out of her grave. When she heard no more noise, she did not know if her tormentors had left, but she knew she had to get out. She thought only of her son, whom she refused to leave alone with his monstrous father. Afraid of suffocating, she tried to breathe calmly and stay conscious. Looking at her bound wrists, she realized she had something that could save her life: the diamond engagement ring, faintly glowing in the darkness, as if it were a divine sign. Using the ring's sharp edges, Michelina managed to cut through the tape around her mouth and limbs. Then she started tearing at the cardboard until she made a small hole. She pushed her fingers through and pulled, causing dirt to crumble in. She cried for help, but no one was there to hear her. Weak and aching all over, she forced herself to keep going. She tore the box further open until she could free one arm, then her head, and finally her entire body. Despite everything, Michelina managed to escape. She had survived the unimaginable, using the very ring Marcin had once given her as her tool for freedom. Stumbling out of the forest and onto a road, she flagged down a motorist named Dan Brooklyn, who called the police. About 50 minutes later, officers arrived, and Michelina showed them the box where she had been buried alive. After receiving medical care, she met with the lead investigator, Elise Griffin, recounting what her fiancé and his friend had done and pleading for the return of her son. The police immediately went to Marcin's home but did not find him, so they proceeded to Patrick's house. When they knocked on the door, the two young men were terrified. The officers told them they were under arrest for kidnapping and attempted murder. During interrogation, Marcin claimed he only wanted to scare Michelina and had planned to come back and free her, but that she had escaped beforehand. He admitted to withdrawing cash from her credit card after burying her alive, saying it was to pay his accomplice. The trial began on December 9, 2011. Both defendants pleaded not guilty. During the proceedings, prosecutor Jonathan described in detail what happened that night. He explained that Marcin had changed his social media status to single about 2 weeks before the attack. From that moment, Marcin began planning how to kill his fiancée, enlisting a friend to help. The next day, he arranged for his mother to pick up their son, then set his plan in motion at the family home. Michelina, in fear, agreed to do whatever Marcin told her. She recounted that after shocking her, he threw her clothes into the trash outside. Investigators learned that the box Michelina was forced into measured just 55 centimeters, likely making her curl up with her knees to her chest. The men admitted they carried the box with Michelina inside down some stairs and into the trunk of Patrick's car before driving her to a wooded area to bury her alive. The prosecution insisted the men were fully aware their victim was close to dying from lack of oxygen, which showed their intent to kill her. Both young men admitted involvement but denied wanting to kill her. The prosecution called several witnesses, including a police detective, who testified that the box in which Michelina was buried lay roughly 33 meters from the road surface. They also found bloodstains where Michelina was discovered. Michelina herself described in detail how she used her engagement ring to free herself from the grave, mentioning that her ex-fiancé had repeatedly told her he was tired of her and wanted to be with other women. She believed that was why he tried to kill her. She added that her only strength to climb out of the box came from thinking of her son. Marcin also took the stand, with his lawyer insisting he only intended to scare her. Marcin claimed he had left a hole in the box so she could breathe and had even given her a sweater so she would not get cold. But the prosecution rejected these statements and maintained Marcin had meticulously planned the crime because Michelina wanted to move back to her homeland and take their son with her. In a later hearing, Patrick pleaded guilty to kidnapping. On December 18 of that year, Marcin was stunned when the jury found him guilty of kidnapping and attempted murder, while Patrick was acquitted of attempted murder. At that point, Michelina was living in a shelter with her son. She was relieved by the verdict but said she would not feel safe until Marcin was behind bars. She revealed she was still plagued by nightmares in which Marcin killed her and begged the court to send him to prison as soon as possible so she and her child could live peacefully. Michelina admitted that she had loved Marcin for many years, but that after his attack, all she felt was hatred. She hoped she could come to terms with what she had done and never again feel anything for the man she once loved and trusted. Michelina's parents, who had followed the trial from Poland, told local media they were satisfied with the verdict. Her father said he had always suspected something was wrong with Marcin, whom he considered a spoiled boy overly coddled by his mother. He added that, although problems between Michelina and her fiancé had escalated, there had been no physical abuse before that day. No one knew for certain whether the muscle-building steroids had affected his brain or if he had simply gone insane for another reason. Michelina's mother and younger sister said they were relieved to know she was out of danger and that they could finally be together. On January 13, 2012, Marcin was sentenced to 20 years in prison on 2 counts. Patrick was sentenced to 4 years for his role in the kidnapping. When Marcin went to prison, Michelina received full custody of their son. In December of that same year, Marcin again appeared in court, this time charged with possessing potentially dangerous explosives. Further charges were brought against him after police investigating the attempted murder found numerous chemical formulas and recipes for making explosives. The prosecutor stated that some products discovered at Marcin's home could be combined to create explosive reactions and highly dangerous substances previously used by terrorist groups. He added that instructions for making explosives were found on a whiteboard in the guest room, and Marcin had downloaded detailed instructions for producing nitroglycerin from the internet. Other materials on Marcin's computer showed an unhealthy interest in explosives, though there was no evidence he had ever carried out these instructions. Aside from one initial experiment, when his ex-fiancée claimed he tried to light fireworks in their yard, Marcin said he bought the chemicals out of curiosity and denied conducting any experiments. He pleaded not guilty to 8 counts of unlawful possession of explosives. Although his motives remained unclear and he had no political interests or affiliations, the judge noted there was no proof Marcin intended to endanger lives, cause harm, frighten people, or damage property. Nevertheless, large quantities of dangerous substances could cause considerable damage or serious injury, so the court sentenced him to death. Thank you for watching and take care.